This is the Lifestream Podcast, episode number 5 for August 12th, 2015. Hello everyone, and welcome to the Lifestream Podcast. I am Mike Ficklin, also known as Vader SW1 on the forum, and joining me on this mythic quest into all things Final Fantasy are Carlie.
Hello.
JasonTandro.
Howdy ho!
Oh my god.
And Ryushikaze.
Your souls are mine. Hey, everyone.
I feel very inadequate right now.
And basically what this show...
You're welcome.
Wow.
I will keep this up all night, folks.
Basically what this show will be about is for an hour or so every few weeks, Ryu will disrupt the show and we will discuss all things Final Fantasy and Final Fantasy related in between. We'll hit upon recent news and notes and delve into a different topic of discussion each episode. If you have a recommendation for something we should discuss, feel free to hit us up at lifestreampod@gmail.com or comment on the episode posts on the forums each week.
I gotta give you props for not corpsing because it looked like you were really trying not to corpse there. I don't know how we're gonna top that after what Ryu did.
Maybe we can top it with some of the news and notes from from the last fortnight here, because it has been fast and furious since Gamescom. And before we get into this, I'll be goddamned if Gamescom wasn't a letdown, and then out comes all these interviews with all these little Final Fantasy websites and game sites and shit, where Hajime Tabata actually gives us some fucking information. Okay. End rant for the moment anyway. Top news story on the list here that I got here, we'll start off with, since nobody really gives a damn about it. Final Fantasy Explorers to be released on the 3DS in North America on January 26th, 2016, and it will release to Europe on January 29th, 2016. Are any of you guys going to be picking that up?
I don't even know what that is.
Yeah.
This is the first time I've ever heard of that. So no.
I'm probably going to pick it up just because it's a Final Fantasy title, but I can't say that I'm eagerly anticipating it. Next piece of business here we got is from Gamescom. Actually, one of the very few things that Square actually did give us was the Dawn trailer for Final Fantasy 15, which basically is, 5 minutes of watching Noctis as a child getting hugged by his daddy. It was, while touching, really befit a big reveal for the game at this point.
You gave us episode Duske, and then you want us to be satisfied with a 4-minute long pre-rendered trailer? What is wrong with you?
Damn right.
Do you want the alphabetical, chronological, or itemized list?
I don't give a shit which, Ryu. Just go for it, man. Tear it up.
Square,
Queen Bradley
Enix.
was not impressed.
It's complete. On the other hand, these are the same people who are giving us Nier 2 and give us Drakengard 3, so what's wrong with them works out in our favor a lot.
I don't get it. Tabata makes these promises that Gamescom was going to be a really huge reveal, and they give us a trailer that would have been better suited to have been given to us back when, the rebranding happened.
It's a pre-alpha trailer. This is
right.
Hey, look what we're coming out with. Isn't this exciting? Don't you want to know about these characters? Not, hey, you dropped $60 on a game that's barely playable on the PSP to get a 2-hour demo of this game, which showcases its amazing capabilities. There's not words for how livid I am about that. That was such...
I think Jason is broken. We may need to reboot
See,
well, what we need to do is we need to have a picture of Dita Von Tess pop up and then take it off you'll just turn me on and turn me back off, right?
Either that, or we need one of those memes of Gandalf saying there are not words in the tongues of elves or men.
I'm gonna say with the Queen Brackney was not impressed because oh my god. See, the thing is, I already don't have very high expectations when it comes to Square Enix, and the fact that they still somehow managed to even go lower from my low expectation is amazing. It just, I said a bunch of times, they are not in touch with what's currently happening with gaming. The idea of they don't know how to get hype for this game. They should have done something for E3. They didn't. They said, "Oh, we're gonna have something for Gamescom," which is the big conference that you have in the year. And then they show up with this tiny little trailer that 90% of it is just like Noctis and his dad hugging each other. That would have worked either by having like a long trailer that had like gameplay footage. It was really dark and you had this like a portion of it that would have been really cool. Or if you were going to stick with a short trailer, you had the scene with him and little Noctis, but then you constantly go switching like some big event that's going on that is what actually has him in that state of mind. Like you get to see that and then see why he's in that mood. Like somebody attacking the city where they live, something like that. And people dying, and you constantly switch to his face and his turmoil or something like that. But they don't know how to do any of that.
Yeah,
they don't know how to properly present the product that they want people to get excited for. So then again, please be excited, and I am not even a little bit excited.
They could have salvaged it with if they added 6 numbers to the end of that trailer. It would have redeemed it entirely. Those 6 numbers would be 9/1/2015.
Yeah. I mean, interestingly, the trailer did promote pre-ordering the game, and Square Enix store does have the game for pre-order. So I guess, yay, be excited for that, right? And
Nope.
apparently, Tabata has stated that Final Fantasy 15 will be released in 2016, but didn't give us an exact date. So, with saying you're going to release the game next fucking year, and all you have to show us is 4 minutes of Noctis getting hugged, what the serious fuck?
Well, the game is an RPG hug simulator now. Didn't I tell you?
And dogs also.
Noctis's goal is to travel the world in search of somebody who can give him a hug as good as the one his father gave him. And that's the love story between Luna and Noctis. It's all about hugs.
You jest, but that sounds like a game I would much rather play than what this is starting to turn into.
I would play that game if.
Then I actually have a game for you. I believe it's Famitsu. It's a game where you're literally going around trying to get people to kiss you.
I would play the hugging simulator if it was coming out on one of the new virtual reality systems that are forthcoming.
Oculus Rift with a force feedback body vest or some crap like that.
I can finally get that hug from Danny Tanner from Full House that I've always wanted.
Pre-order.
You're gonna get it from Bob Saget, and you're gonna like
it. Pre-order now to get the Nomura hug download.
Please be excited for that.
His hand reaches down towards your thigh. Please be excited.
Oh.
Chew Lip. Chew Lip is the name of the game.
Wow.
So yeah, to piggyback off the pre-ordering here, apparently in an interview with GameSpot that took place at Gamescom, Tabata did reveal that the release of Final Fantasy 15 will be worldwide simultaneously. I'm actually pretty happy about that. I guess we're not going to have to wait for a localization, but I mean, why is this not information that was given to us at your live, they call the active time report?
Because that would mean they did something right, and again, they don't know how to fucking do that when it comes to this game.
They were probably busy taking up all the time to tell us about Bravely Default 2, right?
No. We didn't even get anything about Bravely Second, which pisses me off. this would have been a great forum to show off what you've gotten accomplished on the Western localization for the game, and we got nothing. And I have been scouring the internet looking for maybe some kind of interview or something where something did get revealed at Gamescom. Not a damn thing. Nothing.
See, here's my problem with the whole thing. After they showed the video, the whole questions and all that stuff, and they're talking. Do you know what the most interesting thing about that was? At the end when they got beer, which looked like really good beer. They talk about essentially nothing that we didn't already need, except for one little though, where they mentioned, and I'm not calling her Luna, it's still Stella to me. Essentially, what they said was basically what she was before they changed her character. Like, she's still was supposed to marry Noctis and all that stuff. So again, I wonder why the fuck did they need to change her character? Then
effectively, did they change her character? I mean, they changed her name.
I don't know. The whole thing is a mess.
Exactly the same model and almost exactly the same personality based on what we already knew.
I just, oh god. Then the whole thing about the Q&A. If you're going to have a Q&A, actually have a Q&A, because I'm pretty sure when they're reading out the questions from Twitter and all that stuff, they're picking the questions that they want to answer. Because I'm pretty sure in reality, half of the questions will be about what the fuck did you do to Stella? they don't like, if you're actually gonna have a Q&A, actually have a Q&A. Like, actually answer what the fans want to ask you about. Why don't you have more things? Why weren't you at E3? Why did you have this stupid tiny little trailer about nothing? Why are you revealing actually new information? How did you not still have at least a closer release date? Because it's not coming out in 2015. It's not coming out in 2017. That's not exactly a release date.
No. That kind of goes in with the...
You don't even have to say a date. And it's like, they just like, it's definitely not, it's definitely coming out before 2017. Oh, for fuck's sake.
Not to throw the agenda out of order, but that kind of goes along with the Final Land interview.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Well, basically, just reading from the agenda here, Mike did all the work here. Basically, Tabata was interviewed at Gamescom by Final Fantasy fan sites Final Land, Final Fantasy World, and Final Fantasy Dream, and regarding fan concern over Square Enix losing their way with the development of Final Fantasy 15, Tabata said, "We have this clear vision of what we think Final Fantasy 15 should be. We wanted to make it the best possible game it can be and to not compromise on what we think will please the fans most. Clearly, that is our clear mission. But secondly, we also think it's important to be polite to our user base and show our integrity in dealing with the changes from Versus 13, so you understand why we did those. But these are two different things. Letting you know why we changed things is one thing, but keeping to our plan for the game is another, and we don't let those two get confused."
They're not doing a very good job.
No.
No.
At this point, Carlie, I think you'll have an aneurysm if you find Square Enix doing something cool.
Well, the last thing they did was the whole at E3 when they did the trailer for the remake of Final Fantasy VII, which I praise, and then I said, I'm pretty sure very very soon they're gonna do something that's gonna bring you back to the normal Square Enix where they function, and that's exactly what they did. Because, like, they have moments where they do something right and then they go back to like fucking everything up again. Like, this game may end up being amazing, but the way they've been handling promotion, the way the production has been going on, it's been a fucking mess. They have not done a good job of See, it reminds me of the Fantastic Four movie.
Oh, Jesus.
Because and look ahead out there now. Ever since like last year, they did not show anything at Comic-Con, and I said that was a huge mistake, but because that's one of the places when you can get like people excited and interested in your work, and they didn't show anything. You come into this year, it took so long to show something. Every single trailer that came out didn't really sell the movie it was a mess. It turned out they have a trouble production. It's like the mirror to what's happening with Final Fantasy 15. At the places that they should be at to get interest for their video game, they're not. And then when they finally show up to show you something, it's terrible.
Yeah,
I enjoyed that.
And just
hopefully it won't turn out like like Fantastic Four, because that movie's a disaster. But I'm just saying, it shows what you shouldn't do. The way you should promote your work is not the way that Fantastic Four has done, and it's definitely not the way that Final Fantasy 15 has done.
Yeah, and just to piggyback real quick on reading of the quote from Tabata, that whole interview on Final Land is really interesting, and it has a lot of good information, which should have been fucking again given at the Active Time report, but was not. But there's a lot of interesting Final Fantasy 15 information, including some insight on airships in the game or a lack thereof. The game's
DLC.
connection to the Fabula Nova Crystallis compilation, and a whole lot more. Just go to finalland.com. You can read the whole thing. It's pretty in-depth questions in there, and those are the kinds of questions that Square should have fucking been answering at the Active Time report. Instead, we're getting all this shit post Gamescom, and made Gamescom look completely worthless.
They said that they have a big reveal for, I'm assuming it's PAX Prime, but that's exactly what they said about Gamescom. So I don't really believe anything they say anymore.
Maybe they're finally going to give us an exact release date. Not holding my breath for that, but maybe that's their big reveal.
Like,
I was hoping for that at Gamescom.
Me too, but
it doesn't have to be like release date. Just what quarter do you plan to release the game?
my bet.
At least you should know that.
My bet's going to be Q4 2016.
Yeah, it's definitely not going to be the early parts, because that game does not look like it's even remotely finished.
Well, no, not if all they've got to show us is a trailer about Noctis hugging his dad.
It's never going to be Q2, because they're not going to release that game in the middle of summer when nobody's buying anything. And they're sure as hell not going to be releasing it Q1, because there's no way it's ready yet. It's either going to be Q3 or Q4, and it's probably going to be Q4 because that's the holiday rush. They're going to want this to be big money, give us your money, we don't get enough of your money.
Totally agree. I mean, I think
that could be a problem, though.
Why is that?
Because there's a lot in Q4. There's a lot of big games coming out. You're probably gonna have, because I'm assuming Uncharted is not coming out this year. It's probably gonna be left to next year, and they usually release them in Q4.
I mean, the big titles are always Q4 releases.
And Square Enix with Final Fantasy doesn't have that big time, like, people rushing to buy their games anymore.
Which is a complete shame. Tim, what were you about to say?
Oh, I was about to say, it might actually be best for them to defy expectations and release it in Q3. That way, if it is good, they can get word of mouth.
Place.
They'll get a lot of people buying it on Black Friday, which even discounted is going to mean a lot of sell-through, which looks very good for their bottom line, even if it doesn't actually make, much in the way of product difference. They can use it to sell bundles, which is going to be a great seller. Basically, if they release it Q3, there's a lot of tactical options that they can engage in to not exactly cheat, but, sort of maneuver themselves into a better situation.
Yeah, I agree, and I think they could probably take, if the game is good, they can take a lot of that word of mouth advertising from their fan base and from some of the game reporting sites, and really use that to help push the agenda to get more copies of the game sold. Notes from Tabata was very recently interviewed about Final Fantasy 15 by Famitsu magazine. In that interview, there was, again, a lot of information given that could have been revealed at Gamescom, but was not. Tabata did state that there is a possibility that the car in Final Fantasy 15 may feature classic Final Fantasy music on the radio. I kind of like this. It's kind of a quirky thing. I kind of like it, and I know you love it, Jason.
Oh, are you kidding me? That's that of all the bullet points here, that's the one I'm most interested about, because I mean that's going to be leading to me sitting in the car for just hours.
See, that whole thing of him saying it pisses me off, because that would have been so much better had at Gamescom, they done a trailer. They showed a bit of gameplay. You had the guys getting on the car and turning on the radio, and the music comes on, and they make like funny comments about
Wouldn't
it.
that have been amazing?
That would have been yeah, that would have. But again, because it's Square Enix, that was never gonna happen.
What if, this is complete speculation, but just in a fantasy world, I wonder if they're going to take advantage of the internet hookup of the PS4 to make one of the potential radio stations be connected to like distant worlds or something like that?
That would be awesome. That would be really awesome.
It's probably not gonna happen because
Probably not. Yeah.
Why?
So you know what's going through my head? Have you ever played the Saints Row 3 or 4?
I have
The
not.
sequences
Yes.
where
Yes.
the main character sings along with Pierce in the car. I just want to hear them make
And they
up
start
lyrics.
singing.
Yeah, make up lyrics to the old Final Fantasy themes.
See, but with Saints Row, they don't take themselves very seriously towards like Square Enix, which clearly they do.
I was going to say this game seems like it's going to be pretty dark and serious.
No, but I mean in the way they handle
Oh
things.
yeah.
Like being relaxed, the way to communicate with fans. I mean, they're trying, but they're not doing a very good. They come off very robotic and monotone and everything very strategically instead of just like talking to fans, to people. Did you feel a connection to the people that are making these video games for you?
Is it a cultural thing?
Not necessarily, because see, I seen other developers, Japanese developers, do a better job. Like Kojima does an immensely better job at it. So it's not necessarily a Japanese thing. It's just you need to, when you're talking to the people that give you the money, the stakeholders and all that stuff, then yeah, you should come out more serious and all that stuff. But if you're talking to video game fans, to the gamers, then you should, if you're not good at talking in front of people, then you should bring someone that is better at engaging with the fans.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I mean, at least maybe hire a PR guy that specializes in being able to interact with the fans and stuff. Maybe you give that guy a set list of things he can and can't answer. Give him enough knowledge to be dangerous, and let him go to bat for you.
See, I would prefer to actually be one of the people involved in the actual project, because if you have someone that's not involved in the project and they're giving him stuff to talk about, when you're getting into the Q&A, someone may ask something that he doesn't have on the list of things to talk about, and he doesn't know about, and he doesn't understand either. So that gets like kind of a mess.
Yeah, I guess I could see it from that point. Some other stuff that Tabata had revealed in that interview. It sounds like chocobos featured in the game will be extremely fast, be able to jump quite high, and may be required for certain parts of the game where the car can't be used. He also mentioned that Luna and Noctis will have a unique love story and not just something that was cookie cutter.
They promised that with
Squall
Squall
and
and Renoa
understand
too.
what the fuck it means.
What were you saying, Carlie? I'm sorry. You said you didn't know what it means?
From him, no, because what's been going on so far with the females in this game and the way the whole situation has come up, what he says, I don't really understand, and I'm not really confident that what he's saying is actually a good thing.
I think they tried very hard with the Squall and Renoa thing, and instead of being a passable love story, it ended up being completely I couldn't understand the motherfucker. I just
Hey, look, it was an okay love story, and I know people don't like them. I don't care. I did like the characters at a point, but there was a lot of having to go through Squall being emotionally distant and Renoa being an annoying bitch to get through before he got to good characters.
You know, it's almost that awkward love story that got forced on you with Anakin and Padme. You know, what the fuck? I mean, you've got a complete serious asshole, and you're gonna fall in love with him, and he's done nothing for you to fall in love with him about. I don't understand.
That sounds like the first season of The Legend of Korra. See, to be fair to Final Fantasy VIII. One of my favorite couples from the Final Fantasy games is Tidus and Yuna, which I hate because it's so much of them in the game. Their kissing scene I cannot stand. It goes on way too fucking long.
And then they never do anything, and it's just, she wants them to get down to the sex already.
No. I don't even want to picture how that would look like. I mean, it's extremely corny, and I'm not into all that stuff. I'm not into like the whole big romantic kind of. I'm not like that thing that
she's flustered.
All girls are supposed to be like into those romance. No, I'm not like that at all. I like things more subtle and not going up for that fucking amount of time. Like by the time they go underwater and kissing, I'm just like, I'm done. This is ridiculous. This is why I love Garnet and Zidane. Because it's so not like that. It's funny. Zidane it very openly tries to get into her pants. Like they're not taking the whole thing very seriously. It's more fun. It's more subtle. It's not in the game.
I was gonna say it's not forced. And that's exactly how it felt with Final Fantasy VIII and Final Fantasy X specifically.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, one of my favorite love stories, because it was a central focus, but it was also not insanely overplayed, was in Final Fantasy XIII between Snow and Sarah, mainly because Sarah is out of the game.
God.
Look, I'm sorry, Carlie, I know you probably don't like this, but like I really like seeing Snow without Sarah in the picture. You see how hard he's fighting and how hard he's dealing with all the other crap that he knows he's screwed up. That is more interesting character development to me than
Oh god. See, here's the thing, and it hurts me not to, because they're both, at least from the English side, they're both about Laura Bailey, who's one of my favorite voice actors, and Troy Baker. They're amazing together, but it just doesn't work in that game at all. I still have nightmares when her line's like, "Is that my hero?" Like, not even Laura Bailey. I love her so much to say that fucking, like, I do not like them at all. Like, I had, like, it was,
I don't like them until the Big Damn Heroes ending in 13-2.
Wow.
and that's basically just, I want the Big Damn Heroes ending forever.
Look, it's the same thing with him a bunch of times. She's a damsel in distress, and he's a blah, 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 blah.
Hopefully that's not what this Luna and Noctis thing is going to be. Maybe that's what he means by not being cookie cutter.
Maybe he'll be the damsel.
He's pretty close.
See, see, I would have liked the sort of dynamic that would be kind of the anti-villain, but not like the villain of the story. Just the way she operates is completely different from what he does. Maybe there's a romance, but please keep that the more subtle and not be like the main thing, because that's just annoying.
So you want it to be like Batman and Catwoman, but a little on the down low?
Exactly.
Steiner and Bellatrix.
I love Batman and Catwoman. I love that, and all those stuff like Batman and Catwoman. I love Batman and Catwoman.
Alright, so right. Luna is now confirmed to trill all of her R's, have an obsession for felines, and use a whip.
That would be much more interesting than what she looks like right now. I mean,
and she will be voiced by Eartha Kitt.
No. Yeah, no.
Isn't she dead?
No, Eartha Kitt.
Yeah, Eartha Kitt's still alive. Yeah.
Oh, well.
No.
But that kind of like more like, please not like their main thing. Relationships shouldn't be like the romance. Just like the way they're handling what's going on, like the war and all that stuff. Like they go at it in opposite directions. And because he's the protagonist, she's gonna come out as the anti-villain. I would like her character to be like very ruthless, because we don't really see that with main Final Fantasy females, but not like she's the actual villain of the story. That's not what
again,
I want.
the closest archetype I can think of is Steiner and is it Bellatrix? I'm having a brain fart.
Beatrix.
Thank
Beatrix.
you.
Beatrix.
I watched Harry Potter last night, man. I'm sorry.
How dare you? Apologize.
I'm sorry. It was a friend's fan edit. I had to.
No, wait a minute. I actually like Harry Potter. Continue.
No,
dude, it's a good one. Yeah.
I'm just fucking with him.
but no, Beatrice had that same kind of mechanic where she was essentially watch podcast number 3 or 4 or whatever it was where we talked about Final Fantasy IX, and we mentioned this before. It's like this is the kind of mechanic these two characters. This not mechanic. This is the dynamic. Thank you. I'm very tired. This is the dynamic.
It's okay. I'm here to words.
this is the dynamic those two characters had. They start off as rivals, but not entirely enemies. Then they become straight up enemies, and then they're fighting along side by side. And there's not really a romantic spark at first, but just they're fighting together. They're defending the kingdom together, and all of a sudden they're like, "Hey, you're badass. I'm badass. Why don't we make badass kids?"
See, that would be. I would want her to be like Beatrice only because Beatrice, you don't really get to see a lot of her character actually explore her character. So it would be like Beatrice, only more exploring to what her actual motives and what she's feeling and other stuff. I don't think that's what we're gonna get, but that would be amazing.
What if the love story was done something similar to the movie Legend? Have you guys ever seen Legend before?
I don't think so, no.
I think there's been a few movies called that.
Cruise Legend?
With Tim Curry?
Yes.
Okay.
No.
Say Tim Curry Legend. That's the thing people remember from Legend.
So basically, I'll try to keep it brief here, but the love story centers between Tom Cruise and I cannot think of the actress's name.
Wait, is it wait? Is it Mia Sarah? Is that the movie where he's like she's like a princess and he's?
I mean, she's not a princess, but it's fantasy related. Yes, he lives in the forest or something like that. So
I had never seen the movie, but I heard about it. It's
actually a really good movie if you can forgive some of the makeup effects. But basically, the bottom line is she's kind of gets manipulated by by Tim Curry's character, and Tom Cruise believes that she's good at heart. And it's a very interesting twist on a love story, and it turns out he's correct about her. And I just wonder if you would like that and the way that they deal with the relationship with Luna and Noctis.
Not exactly, because not the being manipulated part, just the fact that there's a war going on, but the way they handle and go about it is different. Like, she's on her side, and she's the way she goes about it is this more ruthless kind of way, and more, I don't know, just more ruthless. It's kind of anti-villain because she's not, even though in the end they're going to the same goal, they're going about it in a different way.
Over the next 30 hours,
that's what
I'll show you how all your evil can be washed away with the power of my penis.
Please. It's not just the penis, it's also the balls. And it usually takes about 48.
Well, this took a very interesting turn. I don't even know what to say now.
If I can get your voice up to that level at least once per podcast, I'm doing my job, right, Mike?
That's damn straight.
I don't know where we go from here.
Holy
now.
Shit.
We go into TLS Podcast After Dark. I'm gonna be your guide on the sensual erotic adventures with chocobos and mookers, and how the two ride. In the back.
Too much information.
I have broken Carlie. I think my work here is done.
You know that would not break me, Ryu. You know me too.
Yeah,
well.
you're right. I'll have to try harder.
Mm-hmm.
I'll have to talk about Ifrit and Shiva sisters. And how they are pecking him.
We're gonna scare people away.
I think everybody knows what they're getting into.
Yes, absolutely. By now, you know exactly what you bought into when you decided to listen to this episode. Alright, so
it's not our fault. Gamescom broke us.
And this is healing.
The disappointment.
What else did Tabata talk about in the Famitsu magazine, Mike?
I'm pretty sure he did not talk about penises. I can
he may not have.
Not
on
so many.
But he did mention cactuars. So Cactuars and Tonberries are not
So
currently
like
planned
penis.
to be in the game. Don't know if that's really such a big deal, but currently they're not planned to be in the game. He also stated the characters in the story will use childhood memories to help deepen the story and provide depth to the characters themselves. Basically, he wants us to care for the characters. And I'm okay with that if it's done correctly. Add a little bit of a third dimension to all the characters.
So he wants to tell a story where we care about the characters like every writer's supposed to do.
Exactly, yeah. Shocker,
Oh
right?
my God. I know, God.
Woo. Leviathan is going to be treated as being pretty close to being a god. And from the sounds of it, Leviathan's not going to be the only
usually has
one.
been, actually.
Well, no, I summarized this probably too brief, but basically, my understanding is that there is a painting featured that apparently has been shown before, actually showing off some of the summons, including Rama, and apparently they're revered as being gods or possibly creators of the world. It's an interesting take on the summons.
Well, you've got Titan, Ifrit, and Leviathan, and that right there is three elements. Earth, fire, and water. You throw in maybe Rama to represent wind, and then boom. Psh.
Apparently there's going to be another character that should be familiar to Final Fantasy and Final Fantasy fans. That'll be actually hanging out with Cindy at the gas station. Again, not sure if anybody cares at this point because everybody was upset about Cindy in her uniform.
Unless it's actually Sid,
Like a uniform.
who is her. Unless they bring back Sid and Sid's like her father or uncle or something, I don't care.
It's actually Stella. That's what
What if
Stella's
it's
gonna be
Biggs
in
or
the game.
Wedge or both?
No, it's going to be Gilgamesh. Hanging out with Gilgamesh.
Oh, it's gonna
Oh
be
my
Necron.
Jesus.
That's how he's
Oh
gonna
my
randomly
Jesus.
show up in the game again.
He's got 8 arms. He'd be a great mechanic.
For sure.
Yeah, exactly. But he's a newbie, so he's an intern. He's not allowed to work on the cars on his own.
And Kiddo, I need a crescent wrench.
Well, the nice thing about him, too, is you could give him the mime ability, and then he can just watch them work on the cars, and he can perfectly mime it.
Esoteric jokes, man. Woo.
Jesus, it's a
Job
tough crowd
system.
tonight, man.
I'm the one doing the mime run. I get to make the mime jokes.
It's like we already did the penis and all that stuff, so this really anything else is hard to like top that.
So it's hard to get beyond the penis, is what you're saying? The penis is hard?
Yeah, my wife has that problem
deal
every
with?
night.
Oh my.
But
Wow.
Well, I'm
So-
sure with Kegel's exercises.
Mike, when you went to the staff and said, "Guys, I want to make a podcast," is this exactly what you envisioned?
You know, it really is. I have to be perfectly honest. My real goal in doing this podcast here was to A, be able to report some Final Fantasy news to people, and B, to make some new friends here. And this is just friendly conversation. This is exactly what I envisioned it to be. So. So just to close up real quick on this Famitsu interview with Tabata here, and we can move on. Alticia, if that's how it's going to be pronounced, Alticia is to be one of the most important places in the game, according to Tabata. And also a place called Lestalem is powered by a crater that was created when a meteor fell ages ago, and it still burns. I thought that was kind of an interesting concept.
For some reason, that's making me think of the original Sam & Max game, the ever-burning mountain of tires.
Or even The Simpsons.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that was all the Final Fantasy 15 news that drifted out around Gamescom here. So I think I'll hand this over to Jason at this point and let him kind of go over the Final Fantasy 14 Moonfire Faire event.
Awesome. Okay, so basically, if you're on Final Fantasy 14 or Heavensward or whatever you're at, they're holding an event now it just started yesterday, and it's going through early September. I want to say like the 1st or 2nd of September. Let me double check that real quick. But basically what it is, it's called the Moonfire Faire.
How the fuck I mispronounced that?
It's all good, man. It's happening at Costa del Sol, but you actually have to start the quest at the Limsa Lominsa Aft Castle. and you talk to the quest giver there. He gives you a bunch of fireworks, and you head on down to Costa del Sol where the real party's happening at. As we speak, my character is dressed in yukata in a Manderville flash mob because the community event has been fantastic. By the time you get this podcast out, it'll probably already be over. So let's just remember the awesome community thing that happened here, because we had yesterday, there was literally like almost 100 people on the beach in our server alone. We had people making up a bunch of battered fish for one of the quests and just handing that all out. And people were joining in fates together. You had like 30 or 40 people per fate, just knocking them out in about 30 seconds. It was ridiculous. But it's a lot of fun. There's a lot of prizes you can get from it. The main quest prize is pretty boring. It's the South Seas vest, which is basically a nipple cover for men, if that's what you're into. But you can use the tokens that you earn from the quest, and you can repeat the quest as much as you like to earn tokens, which you can use to buy swimwear, yukata. There's this housing item, an oriental chime, and also for this time, and they're probably going to be on here for a while, like all the seasonal events, but if you didn't get them last year, you can go onto Mog Station and buy the Bomb Dance and the various special yukatas and kimonos for your male and female characters. I myself actually dropped $5 to get the Bomb Dance and the Black Flyer yukata, which if they ever make a real life version for me to buy, I want one because it looks awesome. But yeah, pretty much that's it. It's just a little tiny quest, a little tiny side diversion. And unlike some seasonal events like the Valention's thing, which took a while, it's actually pretty easy to complete. You could probably knock it out and get all the collectibles within a few hours.
I also wanted to have you touch on your Fanworks Roundup on the forums.
Oh, well, we'll go into that too, I say as if I didn't prepare for that at all.
Didn't. Totally winging it.
By the way, before you get started on that, I just wanted to give you a quick congratulations on your getting to take over as Fanworks editor. So congratulations.
Well, thank you for that. I was actually recommended, the way it happened, for the sake of total, this is what happened, was Licorice All Sorts, who was the previous Fanworks editor, basically sent me a message and said, hey, Jason, I haven't been doing much with the role, and I really think you could get a lot done. Could you take it over? And I'm like, yeah, as long as the staff says it's okay. And not a week later, they were like, hey, guess what? The funniest thing was they didn't even send me a message like saying, hey, guess what? We approved you. I found out with the announcement they put on the board, just like everyone else. Like, oh, okay. I get it. That's cool. But what I intend to do, my plan is I'm going to have probably bi-weekly roundups where I take a lot of fan work content of all the categories and showcase 2 or 3 of them per category a week, not a week, per bi-weekly period. In this issue, which I'm sure Michael put a link to in the description, we talk about various fan fictions. We have, of note, Kayone's, also known as Desha's, Psych Eval. It's a really awesome Reno piece, kind of serious, but also has a bit of a comedic hook to it. I highly recommend it. We discuss Pixel did a sketch portrait of Aerith, which is amazing. Just like all of his work, he's just a great artist. Team Wingless, we have a thread that was already put on there, but I linked to it, where Team Wingless did a bunch of ballpoint pen art of various Final Fantasy characters. Fantastic. And I also showcased some OC remixes, a bunch of my old favorites. Nothing really new there. And we had some videos too, most notably the On the Way to a Smile audiobook, Case of Shinra Part 3. If you're not listening to the On the Way to a Smile audiobooks, you are missing out in a very, very huge way. Those are fantastic, and everyone who works on them puts so much effort into them. I highly recommend it. And lastly, I talk about Feathers in the Maelstrom, which is a fan novella from ages ago. And we have a parting shot with FF Jason in one of his stop motion videos. Definitely a good read if you get a chance. And I'm also planning on doing front page articles, but I haven't got my first one up yet. Although I want I want to try and get Obstinate Melon from the Final Fantasy VII comic on Deviant art, which, again, if you hadn't had a chance to read it yet, look it up. It's amazing. I want to try and contact him to get him into an interview and see if we can get that for my first front page article. So that might be coming up soon.
Very cool. I hope you do get a chance to interview Obstinate Melon. From just what you've shown me earlier today about that comic's amazing, and I will actually insert a link to Obstinate Melon's DeviantArt page here.
Yeah, it's a fantastic read. If you like Dragon Ball Z, or even just good old fashioned like anime style humor, like anything Azumanga Daioh-ish, you would get a kick out of this. I really like it.
Right on.
I just want to echo what you said about the audiobooks, because a lot of people assume because they're fan-made, that means the quality of the voice acting isn't good. As someone who follows voice actors, and I can name you and recognize a lot of voice actors, and I love voice acting, I can tell you the quality of the audiobooks is great. It's from people that actually are really good at voice acting.
Oh yeah, it's phenomenal. The I don't know who did the voice for President Shinra. His voice, the guy who does the voice of President Shinra, and really you hear him in Case of Shinra, but the first time you would have heard him is, if you were listening to these chronologically, would be in the Maiden Who Travels the Planet audiobooks. His voice completely changed how I imagine that character sounding. It's just phenomenal. Whoever you are, bravo. I mean, all the voice actors are astounding. They're all great, but that one in particular deserves a shout out. And also the voice of Barrett on Case of Barrett. Just another fantastic voice actor who completely changed how I viewed the character.
Right on. I will actually link to Way to Smile videos as well on the show notes.
Cool. Yeah, I think they got a playlist up, I think. So.
Oh, right on. That'll make it even easier. Other notes that we had for this episode here. This has kind of been debunked, but I still think it's worth discussing here. At a recent Distant Worlds concert, producer-director Arnie Roth kind of let it slip that a Final Fantasy XII HD remaster could be on the way. I think the words he used was actually remake, and he went on Twitter and kind of debunked that and took his words back. But from my understanding, he may have just misunderstood, and this actually could have just been what the actual word could have been remaster, in which case I'm super excited for that, and I really hope that it's true, because I want to be able to play the International Zodiac Job System version.
If I could just comment on what I mean, this is my working theory about that whole situation. Nothing was accidentally slipped. Here's what happened. They announced at E3 that the Final Fantasy VII is finally getting a remake. It's finally getting an HD remake. That rumor mill closed. So what they had to do was create a whole new rumor mill, and they didn't give us a definite answer one way or the other, because they want to replace it. They want that rumor mill flying about something else. Not that there isn't a lot going about the Final Fantasy VII remake already, but this is how Squeenix operates. I am a big Squeenix conspiracy theorist believer.
He thinks that they faked the moon landing.
No,
in Final Fantasy VIII.
The moon landing was real. What they didn't tell you was that it was actually the Martians who did it.
No. We faked the moon landing on Mars because we're at war with the Moonanotes. Right.
They got ticked off because Japan
sense.
made that cartoon Sailor Moon. Of course, that happened 30 years later, but because of the radio feedback, they actually got it back in the 60s, so... Stupid time, space, and relativity nonsense.
Arg.
I just broke people who actually have brains. I just broke it. So.
You're the kind of people that would check if you play Half-Life. It's like, oh, Half-Life 3 confirmed.
So I mean, is anybody else halfway interested in the Final Fantasy XII HD remaster?
If it's real, I'd love it. That'd be awesome.
I am.
Yeah, I'm interested, but I'm not going to get my hopes up.
Like, I want a remaster. The funny thing is, Final Fantasy XII is the only Final Fantasy game that I didn't buy. It was bought for me. When it came out, I played it when it came out, and I finished it. It didn't take years for that to happen. It's the only Final Fantasy game that I actually played and I finished it. I know about, and I can sit and talk about. Well, I did finish Final Fantasy IX eventually, but the Final Fantasy title is not the first Final Fantasy game that I played when it came out, and I actually finished it all that stuff. I want to like play it on my PS4. I'm not sure because was it debunked that it obviously wasn't going to be a remake. The game is not that old for it to be a remake. So is that the point that was debunked, or was it that it's not a remaster actually happening? Because I really want a remaster.
Basically it was debunked that it was a remake. He didn't really specify that he misunderstood about Final Fantasy XII getting any kind of HD remaster, but it sounded like he didn't catch the remake word properly. So it's led to a lot of speculation that there is a remaster on the way.
My thing is, other than the gameplay things that could be added to the game, story-wise, and this is probably not a popular opinion to people that don't like the characters, but I want to see more of Van and Penelo.
Please
because
no.
To be fair, no,
you made fun of me liking Squall and Noah, and you like Vaughn and Penelo. You like little 90s boy band character, and the girl who makes Vanille look like a respectable female character.
Hey, don't say things you can't take back.
Okay, hey, let's get real here. The thing with Van and Penelope, they don't add anything to the story, but they also don't take anything from the story. So I never understood what the hatred towards them is, because they're audience surrogates. They don't take away anything from the story. They still get the character development and the focus on the other characters. So it's not an issue. I like Penelope. She's snarky. You don't really get to see much of that. In the first Dissidia game, she's the character that's making the character profiles, and she does a lot of snarky comments towards the character. I want to see more of that because I found that funny. I found that good. You don't see that all the time with Final Fantasy females. But he's not a great character, but he's not terrible. He's not Squall. Squall sucks.
But you know what Squall had that Vaughn didn't? A reason to be in the plot.
Hey, Vaughn
very tangentially, yes. But only because the plot was going, Squall, be in this plot, while Squall was saying, fuck you! You're not my dad! I don't have a dad! Actually,
unless
son,
Squall
yes,
is dead theory is true, in which case the entire plot is his plot.
And again, Vaughn helped Ash. So he did add help something in the story. The story doesn't have to be about you for you to actually contribute to the story.
Case in point,
I don't like Final Fantasy VIII at all.
No, seriously.
Again,
that is not about him.
My issue. Sorry.
But no, like...
See, my issue with...
Go ahead.
Okay, that's... See, my issue with this is the fact that when the game starts, like, this is my story, and Juna has to start, it's like, this is our story. When I always thought this is her story, and you just contributed to her story. It's not your fucking story.
But I actually like that aspect of 10. I like the fact that Titus or Titus, or however you want to pronounce it, I don't care. I call him Titus. I like that Titus is an outsider. I like he's a fish out of water because it makes sense that everything's being explained to him. They finally have a legitimate reason. And of course it's not. The biggest lie in that game is Auron saying it's your story. No, it's not your story. It's Yuna's story. You are watching it. You are a participant in the road trip. As far as I'm concerned, Yuna is the main character of that series.
Yep.
See, but what annoys me is that he's the one that also says it. Like, it makes it come to, like, he's self-absorbed. Like, no. He should have said, this is our story. That's what should have come out of his mouth. She shouldn't have to correct him. No, this is not your story. Because it's her story. And she doesn't even say it's my story. She says, this is our story. I can't believe we got through this again. But yeah, going back to it, it's not like I want to see a lot more of Ban and Penelo, but I want to see a little bit more, or especially Penelo, on her actual personality. Not so much like focusing her character, just the actual personality coming off a little bit more, because she's really snarky and I like that.
I want to see Fran on a stripper pole.
I do not want to see that. That's so
just go on DeviantArt, bro. You'll find like 30 pictures.
No, for real. When I did see the video of Arnie Roth making that announcement, I literally was screamed, "Fuck you! Take my money." I want a Final Fantasy XII HD remaster so badly. And to boot, if they give us the International Zodiac Job System version, that will just be the icing on the cake for me. Take all of my money.
What if they give us the Jorb system version?
I'm sorry?
All Homestar characters.
Sorry?
Oh, they should give us the International Zodiac Jorb system and make it all Homestar characters.
Jorb!
That would be hilarious.
Next piece of news here I've got is there was a major Final Fantasy Record Keeper update that was released on August the 10th. I know Jason and I play the game. Ryu, are you playing?
I think he silenced me now.
Nope. Okay. Characters can now master unique soul breaks by earning mastery points on equipment while in battle. Once mastered, the character can still use the soul break even without the equipment it was learned from. Shared soul breaks and the unique soul breaks of other characters cannot be mastered. Characters can now bring up to 4 soul breaks into battle. These can be assigned from the camp screen or even while in a dungeon. The soul breaks can only be chosen from the character's default soul breaks, and soul breaks on current equipment. There are now enemy HP bars displayed. Don't know why the fuck it took so long to get that done, but they're finally there now. The main party screen now has a remove all command. This allows for removal of all equipment, abilities, or record materia at once, removing all from your current party or from characters that are not in your party. Remove only a single category at a time as well. You can now also toggle auto battle to always be on, which basically allows you to not have to press the auto button at the beginning of each battle. There are now 2 different ways to skip between characters' turns while in battle. You can go by ATB order, basically meaning the current character passes their active turn to the next character in the order in which their ATB gauges become full, or by party order, the current character passes the active turn to the topmost character in the party with a full ATB gauge. The maximum number of inventory slots has been increased to 500, and they have announced a contest that is being run actually through Final Fantasy Record Keeper, and this might pique your interest, Ryu. You can win one of 5 Tetsuya Nomura autographed Cloud statues by downloading the game via the Apple App Store or Google Play Store, then completing the tutorial, which is the first mission, which is Mako Reactor number 1 from Final Fantasy VII. Afterwards, you tap the special icon on the Realm screen to enter. You can invite your friends through Twitter, Facebook, and Google Plus to double your chances of winning. And the contest runs from August 11th to August the 31st, and it sounds like there's more contests coming. Look up more information about the contest at cloudfigure.finalfantasyrecordkeeper.com. Another piece of news that I saw floating around was actually regarding Kingdom Hearts 3, and it was just a brief snippet. Apparently, Director Tetsuya Nomura has stated that the release date for Kingdom Hearts 3 will be revealed at D23. Are we believing that?
No.
I can't put much stock into it. I'm taking it with a grain of salt. I would like to hope it's true, but I doubt it. Maybe we get one of those ambiguous answers that Tabata gave. Well, it's not going to be released in 2017, but it's not going to be this year either. We're so optimistic here.
No, I'm sorry, but the one time we had our faith rewarded, we got radio silence at Gamescom about even clearly existing projects. It's just like, at this point, I think the Final Fantasy VII Remake was just basically a way of saying, shut up, and also something they could point to and say, see, we did this, so you can't bitch about this. I'm a pessimist, I'm sorry.
No. Have every right to be that.
You amuse us. Thus we allow it.
Well, they also want
The thing is,
go ahead.
The thing is, any release date he would give is probably gonna be delayed after that.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
He tends to be very optimistic to what his games are actually gonna come out, and it's turned out not to be the case. So really, even if he says a date, is probably not gonna be at all.
Carlie, I wanted to give you an opportunity here to give us an update on your Lifestream.net Final Fantasy VII Community playthrough.
Oh god. Thank God Lex is in here, because usually this will be followed by a lot of mockery from him.
You may still get mocked, don't get us wrong.
No, it's definitely gonna happen, but you know.
He does the mocking before she starts. I wait and respond. It's different how we engage in it. I give her a little bit of rope and then let her hang herself.
So he trash talks, you smack talk.
Mm-hmm.
See, I hadn't been since the last time in the podcast that I said what happened to me with the whole snake. So whatever the snake is called, I'm sorry that I don't know the name of the snake that killed me.
Midgarstormer.
Yes, that. But again, I had never played the game before. Apparently, this is like a huge offensive thing that I don't know the name of it. But and also Joe doesn't know the name of it. But again, we had never played that part of the game before. So after that, I hadn't been able to play the game. I was having problems with my computer, and I'm playing the game on an emulator. So I didn't actually get to play again until yesterday. I played for 2 hours, and the first hour and 20 minutes was essentially me trying to find the Chocobo farm again. When I wasn't looking for it, I found it accidentally.
Wait, hold up.
When I was
you
looking
spent
for
an
it,
hour and 20 minutes looking for the Chocobo farm?
No, just that whole thing, looking for a Chocobo farm. Then figuring out how to catch the Chocobo. Then getting the Chocobo not to leave the fucking battles before I could catch him. It took way longer than for someone who's 24 and has played Final Fantasy games should. But yeah, I could sit here and lie, but I did record it, and I am going to put it on YouTube. So I'm being honest.
That's awesome.
I'm not very good at this game.
So
Lex is just with the markers like. You cannot be that bad at the video game. It's like, yes, I can't be that bad.
So, how far have you actually advanced now?
Well, I after figuring that whole thing out, I got the Chocobo. I managed to run away from the fucking snake, which kept following me. It was like, run. I got to the Metro Mines, and I got all the Metro Mines, and that's where I am.
I don't feel bad about only being a guy at Cliff now.
So wait, at a fortnight, you've just managed to get through the Mithril Mines, and out of the Mithril Mines, you haven't advanced any further than that?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Known as the Carlie pace.
I played for 2 hours. I need to take a rest from the game. I'll keep playing, but yeah, I got out of the Metro Mines. Hey, it's still better than sitting here and saying, yeah, well, the furthest thing I went to was the wall market. So I'm way past that at least.
Okay, we'll let you off the hook then here real quick. And I will let Ryu give us an update on his OmniMime challenge.
I've only made one update since we last talked. I need to actually post that on TLS. But I've made it to World 2. I've fought Gilgamesh. I fought Gilgamesh as Gilgamesh, because you fight him twice in a row. And I'm currently pissing around in the back of Beyond, trying to get my way back to Galif's castle.
And
so,
what are you currently miming now?
I'm currently miming Gilgamesh. He was the last boss I fought.
Okay, still. Right on.
I think my next boss fight is, depending on how you count it, it's either Tyrannosaur or maybe Dragongrass, but I think Tyrannosaur is officially counted as a boss. No, it's definitely the Tyrannosaur, which makes my fight pretty damn easy against the Dragongrass.
So would you say that fighting as Gilgamesh is your favorite way to mime then?
Well, the entire point of the challenge is to mimic as many, boss things as I can. Miming him is super easy because he's got access to a lot of blue magic. So I just do him and throw jump. But no, he's not going to be the favorite thing, because after a while, all of the mime gloves are coming off when I hit mime singularity. And I do have a plan to face down Go-Go and become the Ultimime.
Let's hear it.
I'm not going to spoil things because there is something of a narrative that I'm working towards. But essentially, the kid after the fight with X-Death the first time, the kid's gloves are going to come off, and I'm actually very curious to see what's going to happen after that fight, because the game may or may not scrap itself when it takes Marcy out of my party and puts or takes Krail out of my party and puts her back in. I don't know. As far as the game is concerned, I technically have like 2 Gallifs running around in my party. No Barts.
What you mind if I ask what cheating device you're using?
I'm actually using VBA, and I'm using a lot of text editing and standard codebreaker codes. It's basically just changing who's the lead in the active memory. So,
all right. Is that all that you've got going on the OmniMime challenge right now?
Yeah, I need to get back to it. I've just been exhausted after work recently.
Understood.
Yeah.
So, with that said, then, the last piece of news I have is actually something that I'm really excited to be talking about here. This was actually one of my chief goals when I decided to restart the podcast. So I have long wanted to go back through and replay all of the Final Fantasies in the Final Fantasy series, and wanted to do in-depth breakdown of each game. And so it is with that in mind that I am very excited to announce the forthcoming Lifestream.net Final Fantasy Retrospective series. We will be doing a series of podcasts for each game in the series as we play through them. The participants in this will be myself, JasonTandro. Ryu, you still in on this?
I'm still good.
Excellent. And my real-life next-door neighbor goes by the name of Aaron. We will all be participating in this, and I believe Carlie said she may even try to jump in on this.
Yeah, I'm gonna try. So...
We'll start you easy. We'll start you on Mystic Quest.
That sounds like something that's very hard.
Mm-mm.
No, it was actually designed as basically an entry into the Final Fantasy series. It's actually probably one of the easier games that they've ever done.
It has a lot of really weird code. On that note, I'll take Final Fantasy Legend 2. The crushingest of crushing games.
Well, here's what my idea was on this. All of us would play the same game. I would set basically a date for us to have it all completed, and then we would convene once everybody is done and do our episode about the podcast. And I thought we would all start with, obviously, the first Final Fantasy. Feel free to play it in any format you like. I am going to play the anniversary version on PSP. You want to take a shot at playing the original NES version or the Final Fantasy Origins version or any of one of the other myriad versions of the game, feel free. If you want to play along with us, I am going to make a special thread for the retrospective series, and you can keep tabs on what we're doing and how we're going about getting the games completed, and feel free to keep us up to date on how your progress is coming along. This is meant to be a lot of fun. I'm not really going to push to get all these games played, within a year or whatever. I'm setting a completion date for the first Final Fantasy for September the 12th, which basically gives us 30 days to play through the game. I think that it should be more than enough time. And
unless you're playing the NES version, in which case you might need years of counseling.
This is true.
Back in my day, we played the NES version because that was the only one we had. And we played it with all fighters, but one of them were dead because we were insane.
Or even worse, all white mages.
And all but one of them were dead too.
But yeah, I mean, like I said, this is totally meant to be a lot of fun. So we hope you will join us as we go through the playing of all of the Final Fantasy games. I'm actually going to post a roadmap of all the games in the order that we're going to play them in, so that everybody can keep tabs on that here. Like I said, it should be a lot of fun. I'm really looking forward to it. You guys got any comments on this?
Looking forward to it.
Well,
yeah, me too. Super stoked. It's been a while since I played the first Final Fantasy. Really not looking forward to playing Final Fantasy 2, but we'll get to that when we get to it.
You're gonna have to.
As I observed before we started this recording, I am far more interested. I would much rather just play the Final Fantasy 2 story through Record Keeper than I would actually play the game.
Oh, you pansies. Play a Saga game and like it. I did that when I was fucking 6. I actually did play and beat Final Fantasy Legends 2 at 6.
That's impressive.
Deal with it.
That's impressive.
I got halfway through Zelda 2 and then rage quit at the 4th temple at 6.
That does not count.
Oh.
As rage-inducing as you think Zelda 2 is, you ain't seen Saga yet.
So I'm curious, what versions of Final Fantasy 1 do you guys think you'll be playing?
That's a good question. I could either go for the Game Boy or the PSP version.
The GBA version's really good. I really like the GBA version also.
I have recently, like within the past 2 months, did a tool-assisted run of the NES version, so I want to play legit this time, so I'm probably going to go with the Origins version for PS1.
Yeah, and let me just put this out here too. Myself personally, I am not going to snub my nose at you if you decide you want to do a tool-assisted run. I could foresee where many might need some tool assistance to go through some of these early games.
Was this a speed run? Did you publish it, or was it just
I just did it for the sake of doing it.
Fair enough.
I found out something astonishing. You guys are not going to believe this, okay? When you have a cheat that makes all your characters at max level after about 10 fights, and then have another cheat where you don't have to get into any fights except for boss battles, going through an old school RPG is pretty damn quick. Consulting a GameFAQs guide and using those 2 cheats, I beat the game in about 6 hours.
That long?
I know. Well, it's only because it was my first time and I didn't know how to work the dungeons, but other than that,
I've literally seen the game completed in a tool-assisted speedrun in about an hour.
It doesn't surprise me at all. It's not a very long game.
But that was with battles like this. There was no cheats. There was just perfect manipulation of BS. Fact.
Yeah, I mean, if I am guilty of having used things like Game Shark or Pro Action Replay occasionally with some of the Final Fantasy games, especially if I just want to do a speed run. I get tired of doing the level grinding, so usually if I do use a tool like that, I usually use like something that does like a quick level up, and then I'm usually done with it once I get all my characters up to level 99. That way I can just run through the story.
I just game Shark a lot when I was younger.
By the way, the speedrun was one fighter in 1 hour, 9 minutes, 57 seconds, 0.7. So 57.7 seconds.
How do you do one fighter? I assume he went through the game with 4 or his other 3 party members dead?
Yep.
Wow, that's impressive.
I will in fact link you to the video and watch it after this and link it in the show notes as Fair's mumble.
That's awesome.
The only one of those speedruns I ever watched myself was the guy who broke the world record for beating Ocarina of Time just recently. I think it was in the past year, where you have
that
to do
was
that.
Not tool assisted.
That was
live.
glitches. Yeah. That was live and just good. And what was the final time? Wasn't it like 9 minutes or something like that?
For him, I think it was... Might have been... I think it was 10 minutes, or right near 10 minutes. But it was really stupid close. Hold on.
Yeah, we have Google. Zelda World Record Ocarina of Time.
While you guys are looking that up, I do want to just go ahead and make mention real quick that we really did not have a main topic of discussion this week because there was so much news. So we do have some... The
fastest verified is 17 minutes 45 for live any percent.
What? 7 minutes?
17 minutes.
17 minutes of holy shit.
The fastest tool assisted is...
To answer the question about how is that possible without a tool, there is a glitch wherein through completing a certain set of objectives, you can actually glitch your way out into the overworld before you complete the Deku Tree, and then there's a long series of weird twisted events where you can get all the tools you need to go forward in time, defeat Ganon, etc. And it's just watching these guys do it was astounding. I actually watched it, and it was awesome, and he got so emotional.
Reverse bottle of adventure. Hilariously, the current live run is due to the delay in encoding for tool assisted. The current live run actually beats the current recorded tool assisted speed. Oh no, wait, no, it's actually, I take that back. They have beaten live run by barely, like less than a minute. Which tells you something on how utterly broken and utterly practiced the live runners and the game and the live runners are.
Well, that was a nice, completely off-topic tangent, but that was interesting.
Yeah, very interesting. Pulling it back on the rails here. We do have some listener feedback here, and I'm really excited to get to this. I thought we'd let Ryu and Jason and Carlie take turns reading these here, since everybody seems to be a fan of their voices. So, for this first one here, let's go ahead and have Ryu read this first message here. This is actually our very first email coming from Sam.
All right. So Sam, you are now Yosemite Sam. Hey, I've just listened to episode 4. Great listen again. I've been following this rootin' tootin' podcast since I stumbled across episode 1 on YouTube, and your plea for feedback has forced my hand. I'm not much of a gamer per se nowadays, haven't got the time what was riding on the range, but I've been a massive FF fan since playing 7 when I was a wee little under 10. Remained so despite the recent dodgy entries. Anyhow, feedback-wise, I'm thinking the show is spot on. I personally prefer the longer runtime, simply for more content and discussion. It keeps me occupied on the range. The team you've got are great fun to listen to. The mic feed could be a bit clearer, though. Quite hilarious. I even enjoyed listening to Carlie rant on about 9, which is one of my least faves. Which leads me to ask, how about something on FF8? I know a lot of fans dislike 8, and I've mostly had a love-hate view of it. However, I've recently restarted playing it, and I'm actually really enjoying the junction system for a change. I always thought 8 is more suited to an older audience, considering the slower/deeper style of character dev, more serious tone. So now I'm wondering if this could be the case for the junction system too. I know, maybe it's just me. 8 gets a lot of hate though where I am. Interested to see why you, the experts, think that might be. By the way,
so I'm gonna stop you. I'm gonna stop you right there. Here, let's go ahead and respond to that here real quick. So Sam, you actually are going to get your wish eventually here.
Oh darn!
As announced, we are going to do this Final Fantasy retrospective series, and Final Fantasy VIII most certainly is on the list here. So be looking forward to an entire episode where we break down Final Fantasy VIII and our likes and dislikes, and mostly dislikes about the game.
Well, so no, I'm holding you to that, and don't you try and hornswoggle out of it.
Sam, I got your back. I like Final Fantasy VIII. I get a lot of heat for this, but personally speaking, on a nostalgic level, it's personally my favorite. And I know nobody likes to hear that, but personally, it's not the best, but it's a personal favorite. So don't worry, I'll be the guy. I'll be the Carlie of that episode.
Excuse me.
So you're the one I've got to make all the dirty jokes with. Okay.
And 9 is amazing.
Yeah, 9 is amazing. I disagree with you there, man. 9 is awesome. I don't know why you don't like it, but and I just want to comment on quote unquote experts. I don't know if that's necessarily the correct term.
The correct term for the members of this podcast is perverts.
Oh, Jesus.
I am definitely not an expert when it comes to Final Fantasy. I'm just going to say that right
now.
Look,
we're experts the same way that the guy who makes your coffee at Starbucks is an expert. I mean, I'm sure they know what they're talking about.
Somebody who makes coffee at Starbucks is also a pervert.
Is that what we're going to start calling our fan base, the perverts?
Yeah.
Is that what we should call them?
I mean, that's what I've been calling
Jesus.
Everyone in general, because it's always true.
To what degree are you perverted?
Wait. We don't need to have this discussion.
PhD.
No.
Pulling it back on the already severely shattered rails.
Anyways, by the way, I agree with Vader SW1. They need to bring back the old school and update that, rather than abandon it for the newer, flashier, shittier mechanics and idioms. Well, sorry it's so long. Hope it's useful in some way. Keep up the cool. I look forward to the next show. Thank you kindly, Yosemite Sam.
Sam, thank you very, very much for the very kind email. And I really hope this actually encourages more people to write in. And Sam, we want to keep hearing from you. We want to. I'm actually curious to hear more about your replay of Final Fantasy VIII. Really looking forward to hearing what you think about it after replaying it many years later. As far as why the game gets so much hate, there are a myriad of reasons why this game gets. I'm really not sure there's enough time in the world to describe why this game gets so much hate. For me, my dislike of the game comes from the very broken battle system and I should say the junction system. The junction system is fucked up beyond all recognition, and I think a lot of people dislike the game for that very reason. Also think people dislike the game because the characters are completely unlikable. Wall is completely unlikable. I know completely unlikable.
They're poor man substitutes to some of the characters from Final Fantasy VII.
Agreed.
It's story time again here.
More
as
of them
somebody
need to be
who
selfie.
does.
All of
As
them
somebody
need to
who
be
does-
selfie. I'm going to correct myself there.
If you talk about the abuse of limit breaks there, but you know, the end is the cheapest thing ever. But no, as somebody who admitted already that he really, really likes Final Fantasy VIII, and it's one of his favorites, if not his personal favorite, is I have to say two things. First off, again, as Mike already mentioned, the junction system is completely broken. Here's a story of how broken it is, and I swear to God this is true. My first time playing through that game, I learned Enk Nun. Well, actually, it was my second time playing through it because I quit halfway through my first playthrough and started over. But my second time playing through it, when I actually beat it for the first time, I beat the game with a level 20 party because I used Enk Nun everywhere and the bosses don't give experience. But I was able to beat it because I was able to junction all the proper magic, so I had the right stats even without the levels. So the levels are pretty much useless.
They're completely useless, actually, because everything scales to your level.
Yes,
exactly.
That's another reason why I fucking hate Final Fantasy VIII. I hate the fact that everything scales to your levels. The whole point of leveling up is to make your party better against the coming threats, and that's not the fucking case with a level up system in Final Fantasy VIII.
But Elder Scrolls does the exact same thing.
Yes,
but it also gives you the skills and kit that scale up so that you're still above the curve.
Well, and not to mention the fact that this is an established thing for the Elder Scrolls. This was not an established thing for the Final Fantasy series.
That's true.
But Sam, I think that's pretty much why the game gets so much hate. I am going to go through, obviously, and play it again when we do the retrospective series. My opinion might change slightly. I highly doubt it. But for the first time, I am going to try and do a run through the game where I don't do any level up. I'm going to do the ink none thing and see if that changes my opinion about how I feel about the gameplay. So we'll see. Next piece of feedback here. Let's go ahead and have Jason read this one.
From Starling, we actually have 2 posts from Starling here, with my comment being a little JasonTandro sandwich. Should I just read both of Starling's comments?
Yeah, go ahead.
First comment is, I watched that Disney horror movie in school once. It was called Watcher in the Woods, and I couldn't make much sense of the plot. Something about a girl trapped in a mirror. My teacher said that they made it to prove that they could do more than just kids movies if they wanted to.
That was in reference to the last episode, by the way. I believe Ryu was who brought that up. It might have been Tets. I can't remember.
It was one of us, and then we got on a bit of a branding discussion. Well, we got on a branding discussion, and then it segued into a discussion of Disney's, horror line.
Alrighty, do you want creepy Disney movies? There's plenty of them out there.
Yeah.
I'm like the end of the ending skit of Fantasia. That right there is freaking awesome. I still love that to this day. Anyways, moving on to the next comment from Starling, and I'll try to think of a silly voice to do this in. I don't know, man. I'll just go.
Let's get it in a sexy Southern belle.
Oh, if you want a sexy Southern belle.
Yes, that.
I don't know what I'd want an announcement. I'm pretty laid back about those. I suppose maybe some gameplay footage for a remake if they're far enough into development.
You're drifting into Appalachia. Keep it, Georgia.
So I'm from Appalachia. Give me a break.
Okay.
The silly voices were amusing when you did them. I can't help but think it'd be weird. I can't help but think it'd be weird to read feedback about silly voices in a silly voice.
You got your wish, darling.
And all I'm just saying is Southern Belle is a very Georgian accent.
You're talking more about molasses dripping out the side of your mouth.
That's more of a Southern plantation owner. A Southern belle has a very similar accent, but she has different stresses and the vapors.
Tim, I must confess I'm becoming oddly aroused by your Southern belle.
Oh. Please speak with my father about an engagement, sir.
I think I did my job. Carlie's losing it over there.
Do you want to do a podcast where we turn our actors gay?
On that note, Carlie, do you want to do Jason's or shall I?
Can Carlie breathe?
See, one, I don't think turning actors gay is a problem because I'm already half done. I'll do this dude named Jason, whoever he is. I don't trust that name. Probably a sketchy person.
Absolutely.
Yeah, he sounds like an asshole.
Yeah, he probably is awful with his voice. Probably has an awful voice. Okay, he says, a release date for the Final Fantasy VII Remake would be ideal, but highly unlikely. I would love them to at least discredit the rumors about to 2016 release. Also, since I'm certain this makes it on the air, it will be read in a silly voice. Icky, icky, icky. But then to boing, yeah. What?
Okay, yeah,
that would be a Monty
if you could do the
Python
correct version of that.
That would be a Monty Python reference.
Yes. All right. For demonstration purposes, that is Iki Iki Patang Zubonya Ni.
Thank you.
Maybe I was the wrong person to do the See, I can't do a silly voice. One, because after these two, anything I do is just gonna look subpar. Two, I'm really trying not to burst out laughing again. So if I try doing a silly voice, it's not gonna work at all. Three, I can't decide on what to do. I promise for the next podcast, I'll try practicing an English voice or something. Because the thing I can do is I can read you the comment in Spanish, but then you're not gonna understand what I just said.
That's all right, Carlie. I think a lot of people just enjoy your accent in general anyway, so...
It gives them the vapors like it does me.
So, real quick, on Starling and JasonTandro's comments, those were both in reference to the question that I had posed on the last episode, which was, what do you want to see announced at Gamescom? Obviously, we didn't get a release date for Final Fantasy VII Remake. We got nothing of the sort. And we definitely didn't get any new gameplay footage for Final Fantasy 15, or for Final Fantasy 7, so whatever. Fuck Gamescom.
We got nothing. Whatever you wanted to appear at Gamescom, you got exactly not it.
Yeah, and I'm really looking forward to this next, because it's from Tets, and I know how pissed off Tets actually was. So, turn is it? Is it Ryu's turn, or is it Jason's turn?
I can do it. Jason can do it. Either way.
I'd Rochambeau you, but we're on audio only.
We can never kick each other in the balls for it.
how about you do Tetsujin and I'll do Pixel?
Okay.
Right. So there's actually two different posts from Tets, Ryu, so go ahead and grab both of them here.
Yeah, that's up. Well, the Final Fantasy VII Remake news won't come until winter. That much is confirmed. I'll reiterate what I said on the podcast. I'm hoping for a Final Fantasy 15 release date, or at least a general release window. Fall 2016 is my guess. For Kingdom Hearts 3 at a D23, I'd only expect some new gameplay footage or announcements of worlds. Also, announcements of Kingdom Hearts 3D HD for PS3 or PS4. We'll also need to fill the gap until the release for Kingdom Hearts. I would love to participate again, but yes, I am going to be in England for a week. Do note my huge disappointment at Final Fantasy XV's lackluster Gamescom appearance when you read my feedback about hoping for a release date. Indeed, I think I could have ranted quite a bit about it. The HER was a bit of a joke. The questions they read were mostly given non-answers. They were still talking about looking into things like airships. And then the fucking product placement for German beer towards the end. Note how the woman bringing the beer turned the glasses so the logo would face the camera. God damn. They did say the next major reveal would be at Gamescom, so it shouldn't be surprising people are left wanting more than that.
Yeah, Tets, couldn't agree more. Gamescom was a huge fucking letdown. We got absolutely nothing. You're right, the AR was a complete joke. I mentioned that a little bit earlier in the podcast. Why in the fuck is it that we didn't get any relevant information about Final Fantasy 15 until after Gamescom? Doesn't make any fucking sense. I'm totally with you, Tets, about your outrage over that. So, yeah, fuck Gamescom.
And we all understand your rage of all things German.
I just want to know, because he said he wanted us to properly express his disappointment at the Final Fantasy 15 thing, and I want him to know that, yeah, I think we did that.
Absolutely.
We did it as British as we could.
Not impressed.
To demonstrate the fact that you are in England.
Okay, Jason, go ahead and read Pixels.
Okay. I hope they announced the Final Fantasy XII remake. It would have been really funny if at E3 they came on and showed World of Final Fantasy, then said, now many years ago, Square Enix released a groundbreaking title that went on to become one of the most beloved games in PlayStation and video game history. Tonight, I'm proud to announce that with popular demand, we have a very special treat for everyone. Then KGB shows up and kills everyone. And showed Final Fantasy XII. Then repeated, Now, many years ago, Square Enix released a groundbreaking title that went on to become one of the most beloved games in PlayStation and video game history. Tonight, I am proud to announce by popular demand, we have a very special treat for everyone. It would have done Final Fantasy XII a disservice, but it would have been epic. I guess they may have held of announcing it for a different event, hopefully Gamescom. No, you are wrong.
Nothing. Yeah.
Wait, I realized we put Willy Wonka in charge of it. We got nothing, and we liked it. Good day. Never put Willy Wonka in charge of your announcements. He always has to do something weird.
I just don't. I've said it before. I don't get it.
In Square Enix Russia, trailer watches you.
In Square Enix Russia, games release on time.
For you to do something like that.
I missed what you said, Tim.
In Square Enix Russia, games release on time. Xenogears is a complete game in Square Enix Russia.
Oh my god.
We probably already have Final Fantasy 15.
Squall and Renault are a hero of Socialist Party. Just like communists. Final Fantasy VIII, very communist game. No matter what you have, enemy also has equal.
Except they don't have limit breaks, they don't have Angelo, and they don't have Zell. So they can't possibly have what I've got, which is the ability to break the game over my knee.
There will be no breaking. Order will be maintained by secret police.
Unfortunately, the secret police has already been killed by Zell's army. And we're invincible thanks to Invincible. I'm not even joking. I actually once went through all of Ultimisia's castle, taking 0 damage with everybody in single-digit HP. It was great.
I would like to see that.
I could probably recreate it. It's not that hard. All you need is Zell, Squall, and Renoa, and you don't teach Renoa any of her Angelo techniques except for Invincible Moon. That way you've got a 50-50 chance, and it gets the bump because you're at critical HP. Armageddon Fist as Zell, and then you just do shit as Squall, because it's actually ancillary to the tactic.
Nice. I always was a fan of abusing the Laguna, turning the card into 100 heroes and just spamming that. Particularly for the Ultima weapon, or Omega weapon rather, which was not as hard as I was hoping he would be.
Yeah.
Dead silence.
No, I was actually thinking about just how kind of lackluster those two were. Like,
which, oddly enough, fits in with the whole premise of our show tonight.
This is what happens when you have your entire show with Americans. I think this is why we needed your peers in here.
Hold on. I need to inject myself with some bratwurst.
Dude,
okay,
what you do on your own time is your own business, all right?
No. Straight into the vein. Straight into the vein. Not taken orally or anally. You need to get the true German experience and get the bratwurst in your blood.
Okay.
Next week, Pixel takes me to Tetsugen. Basically, all of Europe takes me to task for extremely stupid remarks I've made about their country. Just keep making them.
Europe is a country now.
No, I'm saying all of Europe is going to take me to task for things I say about their individual countries. Some of them will have to wait around, as I have to come up with extra dumb stuff to say about some of them.
Please direct your hate mail to Ryushikaze.
It does keep me so warm in the winter.
The views expressed by Ryushikaze are not the views of the Lifestream.
The views expressed by Ryushikaze are not necessarily the views of Ryushikaze.
That's just
good
confusing.
Lord.
Did you just refer to yourself in the fourth person?
No, in the seventh. Come on. Get your subjunctive temporal tenses straight.
You know, you wrote up this lovely bullet pointed agenda, and you know, here's point A, here's point B, nice solid line. We're way up here at point Z.
Which is above point A.
I don't think I actually don't think there's a letter to describe the point
We
that
are
we're
in
in
wing
right
these
now.
points.
The
At this
point of insanity.
The point
So,
where
I
it
think-
tips, the point where it bends, the point where it tumbles, the point where it breaks, or whatever the line from Ruby. The point where you
I
just
think,
can't take. That's it.
I think with that being said here, we can give the question for the listenership this week. I didn't really have anything that I thought was pressing, but I do think it'd be interesting to find out if there is a Final Fantasy XII HD remaster on the way. Do you want the original version of the game, or do you want the International Zodiac Job System version, and why?
The answer is job system, and the reason is job system.
And with all of that said, I do want to encourage people to please go on iTunes and leave us some reviews here. That actually is going to help get the podcast notice, and by the same token, help get the live stream notice as well. So we do want to hear from you. Send your questions and feedback to us at lifestreampod@gmail.com. You can also reply to the episode posts each week on the livestream.net forums. Please leave us feedback on iTunes. We will do our best to read your questions, comments, and feedback on the air, like we did earlier today, in silly voices.
Very, very silly voices.
Silly, offensive, it's all good.
Possibly mind-bending.
We'd like to thank you again for listening to the Lifestream Podcast. Take care, and always protect the crystals.
And tip your waiter.
Wrap it before you tap it.
Music featured on this episode is courtesy of incompetech.com.